Welcome to CCRPG, where we open up our virtual table and play games with some good friends. I'm Bob, and I'll be running Lancer, an RPG by Miguel Lopez and Tom Parkinson-Morgan. You can find it on itch.io. We left our pilots as they were told about an upcoming mission Wren wants them to run. An initiative to rehab and revitalize a planet scarred by the initial expansion of the Cygnus state has grander and more affluent backing than expected, with 3 of some of the most powerful corps in the state cooperating and taking on direct involvement. Wren has it on good authority that there are odd happenings. Missing shipments, reallocated personnel, lack of progress but increased investment. Their contact and confidant, Efik Desaria, has worked her way into the project via her sterling record as a genius logistic mind, whose efficacy gets her into all the right rooms, largely so she can pass on what she hears there to her other collaborators like Wren. It's a sign of trust that Wren is willing to introduce the crew to one of their allies, and hopes you'll be able to help Efik find out what's going on under the surface. But before we get there, pilots, I think we have a few things you guys want to wrap up before you depart AO Station. Is that right?
Yes, indeed.
All right.
We must perfect our disguises.
I would like to start there then.
Boy.
The ball is in your court, pilots. Before we move on and you undertake Wren's mission, what are the things you want to accomplish here on Eos before taking to the ship?
I would like to go and speak with Sol Prisma with Artemis present, because I know they said to come back when I told them I would come back tomorrow, but, well, tomorrow kind of exploded. So we're going to say the day after.
Okay, you can absolutely contact Sol, let her know that you're coming and bringing your AI with you.
Yep.
So let's go to that scene then. What does, remind us, Artemis's casket look like?
Ooh, man, when was the last time I brought Artemis with a casket? Oh, right, when I brought her with the to the munitions shop. I imagine it being almost like rectangular, lunchbox sized. She can like, there's a screen on one of the sides where she can appear and interact, and on another side there are it is where the interface where I can interact with her. I'm just carrying her around because that is what I can do.
All right. When you get to the area where Sol has set up her operation, you enter and will find that there are people doing a variety of tests on the Vesalian medium.
Yeah.
What you have left here, they have partitioned out, and they know the makeup of it. They know it's not particularly dangerous, other than like direct exposure due to the radiation involved. But you see people who are doing like a wide array of experiments with it, just to kind of see what it works with, essentially, because they know, based on your report, that it has certain effects. So you see a bunch of people doing things like, trying to see what its conductivity is like, and trying to determine, what happens if you do this or that to it. It's a very varied thing. It does not seem like they have drilled down on an isolated way of dealing with this yet. So they're just kind of running a gamut of possibilities here.
Right. Well, I will look for Sol, and when I find her, I will walk up.
Yes, you said you were maybe coming yesterday? I suppose you were busy?
Well, we were dealing with a problem on the station, and that ended up taking the whole day, kind of blowing up any free time that I had.
Oh, well, we've been able to get along on the work just fine with what you've started. I have to say, it's interesting that it exists, but it hasn't done anything quite remarkable yet.
Yeah, well, there wasn't really any information for us to access while we were there. It was kind of stuck underground in a depowered area of the city. There was no way we could power it enough to actually get any information off of these systems, unfortunately.
Well, that's a shame.
I did bring my AI today, however, though.
Excellent. Go ahead and load it into the machine over there, and we'll open it up and see what's going on in there.
I will load Artemis.
All right. Artemis gets loaded in. You see one of the screens turn on, and Artemis will appear and say, "What are you doing?" And Sol will, not even addressing Artemis, just look at you, Dyne, and be like, "I'm just gonna run a few tests."
I go, "That's fine. It'll be fine, Artemis. Just trying to figure out what this medium does."
Sol starts activating a few tests. You see as the casket gets loaded into kind of like almost like a few holding clamps that kind of like hold it up as various scans are run on the casket. You see that the casket is like attached to a power source to make sure that there's no like interruption of power or anything like that. Yeah. Sol starts remarking on some of the readings here because this is very impressive for being such a small form factor.
And, well, she'll definitely let you know how impressive she is. She does that often.
From the box, you hear Artemis going, "This is great and all, but we have a mission to be on. Is this necessary, Dyne?"
The mission will begin soon, so don't worry about it too much.
Sol does a few tests and will pull up the results and kind of like point at them on the screen for you and go, "Now, since you said that you put this together yourself, perhaps you can help me unravel what's new and what's original here."
Okay.
Although that sounds like that should be easy to do, it was very complicated to make, Dyne, and you had to, it's like trying to be like, well, I can't memorize like 8,000 numbers off the top. You know what I mean? Like, you have to kind of look into it a little bit. I'm going to need a pilot check here to see if you can evaluate this properly.
I feel like this is investigate.
Sure.
I mean, that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
A 9.
You look at it, but you are not confident with the amount of complexity that's been added, just sheer from runtime, from Artemis kind of experiencing the world herself and kind of like adding adaptive bits on her own. It is hard to say kind of what's new and what's old. You know what I mean?
Right.
But you do know that it's quite garbled, and Sol will just shake her head and go, well, that's not as effective as I needed it to be. She'll turn to you and say, well, I mean, we could just do a full disassembly.
Unfortunately, no.
Says Artemis.
No, I need Artemis. She is key to my missions.
Oh, well, we can get you your AI back. That's not a problem. We just need to take apart all the pieces, look at them individually. We might have to wipe parts of it, but I'm sure you can reprogram it easily enough.
Not in the amount of time that I need.
From the casket, Artemis will say, "It's not about the time."
I go, You know what? The best I can do at the moment, I can provide you with the information on the most recent backup that I have of Artemis, and then you should be able to compare compare the data. That should be more than sufficient, at least for the moment.
She sighs and goes, okay, fine, but a complete bust down of the device would be more useful if we're trying to figure out what's happening here.
Internally, Dyne's like, I don't want to deal with that. Yeah, I'll go, yeah, that is the best option that we have at the moment. I'm sorry.
Fine. Okay, just send the data along to me and I'll see what I can get done with it. Just make sure you don't forget to send it to me before you leave.
That won't be a problem. I'll make sure to get it to you by the end of the day.
All right, well, in the meantime, she looks around, looks at Artemis's casket, looks at the results, turns back to you and goes, can you at least... What would it take you to make another one of these?
Time and probably enough to time is the major point. It is likely that I could do it after my current mission.
All right, well, we'll look at that when you have some time, I suppose. We'll get working on the scraps you've left us.
Yeah, unfortunately, time is the one thing that I tend to not have much of. Unfortunately, that is my life as a Lancer pilot.
Well, far be it from me to put the advancement of science above your little missions.
Well, tell you what, I will, when I send along the information, the most recent information on Artemis, I will send along the notes that I used when I was in the process of constructing her. At least should give you some idea of where I was going when I started the project as a whole.
All right, that will be fine. Thank you for your time, Dyne.
I'll say thank you, and then I will retrieve Artemis when I am able, and I will leave.
All right, she will have the restraints loosened on the casket so you can take it.
Yep. And I will leave. And as we're walking out, when everyone's out of earshot, I'm going to go, there's no way I'm letting them deconstruct you.
Yeah, you better hell you aren't. I have access to your missiles.
That's exactly what I'm worried about.
To be fair, that is a pretty terrifying thing that she has access to.
Oh, I'm less worried about the missiles and more about the cannon.
True. Well, anything that's a weapon, really.
The one that blew a hole in my ship?
One time.
Speaking
the one
of...
that blew a hole in many ships.
Speaking of Astro, you'll be glad to hear that Curry has completely fixed all remnant of that hole that was blown through the ship.
Ah, nice job, Curry. I knew we kept you around for a reason.
On the other hand, give me 1 second. He did decide to go with the kintsugi method of repairing your ship. So now, where that giant hole was blown through your ship, he repaired it with differently colored material in all of those spots. So now you have just a normal ship, but where that laser went through it, he repaired it with like shiny chrome instead of just normal wall material.
It's very obvious that something.
It is very obvious where the repair took place.
It makes it look more war-torn.
Yeah, it adds character.
That's what he says.
I could go along with that.
Look, I can add a few more holes if you want.
Listen,
You just
as
have
long
to
as
ask.
it doesn't, as long as it didn't damage any of my movie memorabilia, I'm cool.
Hey, and here's some other things that you guys have. Curry has also been working together with Jess to add a few upgrades onto the DBC. While you guys were on station. So the two of them have been working together to put into effect some of the upgrades that you guys have been talking about putting together. First, hey, that isolation room is truly done now on the ship.
Yes!
You now have a room on the ship that, as long as someone doesn't look too closely at it, is kind of shielded from sensors. So you basically have a giant, almost like a smuggling room. It will be apparent if anyone like boards your ship and compares the layout of your ship to your ship schematics and like your signature. It will be obvious that there was a room hidden. But for the purposes of long-range sensors and just normal scans of your ship, there is a room on your ship now where those things won't show up. So that's useful.
Oh, nice. Good for smuggling.
Curry converted a small portion of the crew deck to an actual brig. So you have a brig now.
Okay.
Cool.
You also got added to the top and bottom of the DBC 2 anti-fighter, anti-breach pod turrets. One on the top and one on the belly of the ship.
Now, does that ruin the aesthetics that is the DBC ship?
It now looks like a cargo ship that someone put aftermod turrets onto. The turrets don't match the design of the ship. I will say that. I already told you that you fixed the Dyne hole.
Is that what we're calling it?
Yep.
The Dyne hole?
The Dyne
The Dyne
hole.
hole, yes.
Okay.
That's what I'm writing in my notes.
Okay. Just
I
if
prefer
you're
not
willing,
to put that on paper.
if you're
Electronic
willing, I
paper.
can put another one in the ship. You just have to ask Astro. Artemis will be happy to oblige.
Let's hold off on that for now.
Also, a rail crane has been added in the mech bay. So that will help with like moving heavy things. It'll help with the servicing of the mechs. It's just like a quality of life thing.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Oh, great.
Good deal. So,
And a quick start system has been added to the ship. Talked about like possible piloting upgrades and stuff that you might want to make. So Jess really took the lead on getting that upgrade added to the ship as well.
So with the turrets, I don't think our ship had any
No weapons. No.
at all before. So this is the first time we have some weapons attached.
That is true. But keep in mind, these are more anti-fighter turrets. Like, if the DBC was getting raided by a few, tiny ships, this would help with those. Like, it's mostly to prevent, like, breach pods from attaching to the ship, to, like, shoot them out of the air before they get to you. Even a mech, like any of your guys' mechs, these turrets would be nothing to.
Right.
Like, they're not really, like, that kind of arsenal. You would need to refit, like, the power systems of the ship to support those. Like, this ship isn't really equipped to host that kind of weaponry. But you did talk about, hey, wouldn't it just be nice to have something? So they would work for like anti-personnel purposes and stuff like that.
Hey,
like hell,
good.
even if you guys are down in the dock, right? If you're like landed on a landing pad, if someone was in the turret on the belly of the ship, that would be a pretty effective deterrent for someone trying to storm onto your ship. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
like-
there are use cases for these things. It's just like your ship was never made to military spec, and it's never going to be. But this is a nice little upgrade that your ship can support.
It would have been
Suppose
really nice
we-
to have that time that we almost got raided.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I assume that's part of why you guys decided you wanted these.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose we need to. When they installed it, they got some ammo for the turrets as well.
Yes.
All right, good deal.
Nope, no ammo.
No, we have turrets with no ammo. Yes.
Just to look threatening.
Yeah, it's a deterrent.
Yeah. A deterrent.
I get it.
Oh gosh. Anyway. Cool. Our ship is leveling up.
I mean, essentially, yeah.
Pretty much.
I figured it was a good time to do this for the DBC because you guys are license level 6 now, which is like passing into the next tier of gameplay for Lancer. So I figured a little upgrade to the DBC is fitting now as well.
Makes sense to me.
Just sitting here thinking, while you're explaining how the turrets work, you're just going, I do not want them to be doing space combat.
No, you're not gonna. I've taken that off the table.
They're more likely to be pilot check shots than anything. So
why would you want a ship that could shoot things when you could have a mech that could shoot things? In all fairness.
Also, to be fair, the ship you have can do things that most other ships can't already. So
This is
the
true.
trade-off is worth it.
Yep, the jump drive being a big thing for sure. All right, cool. Anything else we need to do?
Astro, are you going to get back to Roxana before you leave?
To Roxana.
your agent.
Yes.
The job, yeah.
I think I should probably.
Oh, it's important to know at this point, all of you have gotten the materials you need. If you haven't done it already, at least the packages have arrived that you can do en route to do the upgrades and repairs that you wanted to do. So, like, for example, at this point, Comet, you would have received your shipments from Symbolica Labs in response to your new ID and stuff like that. Yours probably arrived latest because of that hiccup, but, like, you would have plenty of time to get these added on, like, while your ship's in transit. So
Nice.
you don't have to worry about that. That's been taken care of.
Okay. I guess I better call her. This is gonna be probably an uncomfortable phone call. She's gonna be mad at me. But yes, I should get back to her and tell her I'm not doing the movie.
All right, Astro, you tell me. What are you doing?
Yeah, I'll just I'll call her up.
Where are you
I
doing
told her
this?
I'll go into my quarters in the ship.
Okay.
Get a private line.
All right. Are you going to... So here's a good question. Are you going to send her a recorded message before you leave? Or are you going to spend the extra resources to have a real-time conversation with her? She is in the inner systems. It would require this expenditure of those resources to instigate like a real-time conversation with her.
A good question. How did I talk to her live? I did talk to her live last time. Yeah.
Yes,
we had a whole
she basically
conversation.
called you.
Yeah.
You basically got a credit applied to your account that allowed you to call her collect, right? Because she initiated contact with you, and it went through basically the station. You used an AOS. You used an AOS communications hub, and basically it was like technically from her to you.
Yeah, got it. I think because Astro doesn't really like the idea of her yelling at me, I think I'll just leave a recorded message and send it to her.
Ah, yes, the coward's way out. Excellent.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, you
the
have
breakup text.
You have to tell me what is on this recording. What do you record and send to Roxana?
Yeah, so he'll hit record and say, "Hey, Roxana, so I've been thinking a lot about your offer." And boy, it's a great offer, and I'm so lucky to have an agent to bring me this kind of stuff. But unfortunately, it's just not going to happen. I have too many pies in the oven right now, if that's an expression anyone uses, and I can't just drop what I'm doing in the outer rim here, and abandon my crew. As it turns out, we have something coming down the pipeline that could, maybe could make us a lot of money. And if I do this, that's going to upset the balance of what I've tried to build here. I understand that this could be bad for my acting career, but that is just a risk I need to take right now. This is the choice I've made to do with my life, and I gotta see it through to the end. Hope you don't hate me too much. Bye. Where's
All
the
right.
off button on this thing?
Is that the message you send, Astro?
That's the message he sends.
All right, message away. You imagine it'll probably take a few days to get to her.
All right. Well, she's not going to be happy, but what's done is done.
Astro, I hear they're doing interesting things with AI. Maybe they can still put you in the movie.
I would not put that out of reach of what they're willing to do.
This is like the current actor strike right now is the inflection point. If it goes badly, this is the future. We're living in the future where the actor strike, they lost. They have no power over their own likeness. The megacorps
Don't make
take
me
control.
want to destroy all of Terratella more than I do right now.
Yeah.
Okay, can we just move on from that?
Listen, you're supposed to want to destroy Terratella. That's who they are.
It's like I could put absolutely zero thought into all of these megacorps. Just make them how they are.
But yeah, all right, so that's done.
All right, Astro, taken care of. I have a thing I want to clear up with Steve. Steve. I want to just check something here with you. Before you get your call, I was going to assume that at this point you would have already gotten a fair amount of information to them about what's going on and where you're headed.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So does it make sense coming into this conversation with them already knowing a lot of that stuff?
I would think so. Because the timing works out that way, because yes, they would have gotten the information as soon as I got it.
Yes, okay. Because the way this works is often you give the information almost as a data drop, right? Like you have places you send it that basically relay the information where it needs to go. You've done those things, but it is rare that you get an actual direct communication. So this puts you on your guard almost a little bit. Your handler does not often contact you directly unless there is a reason to talk. Usually content with just giving you kind of here's what I need you to do it. You know what I mean? where are you when you can safely take a secure message?
Either on the DBC or in a public place, I would think.
Okay. I would say maybe on the DBC. Do you think Jess is there or no?
Yeah. That's
okay.
Fine.
So you guys are kind of like in your quarters.
Yeah, if we knew ahead of time or like knew it was coming, there's no reason not.
Okay. So you've like activated your security protocols and done all the work, being like basically the last drop you got was like, hey, you know, the big guy wants to contact you at like 1700. Make sure you're around and able to take a call securely then, you know. So you get a call at 1700, or I guess it isn't 17, it's just 1700. I don't use military time often. You will get
that's space military time. We had to know in the front.
The military time. Yeah, they needed to add a digit.
100 hours in a day.
They needed to add a digit because the digit tells you its displacement from the core in terms of the time.
That makes sense, actually, in a weird way.
So you get a call from Rupert. Rupert is a procurator rector, which you would know is like a step up from the normal guides the ones that you've met so far are all normal guides. They're just considered a rector. Rupert is a older man. He has a lot of white and gray in the sides of his hair. It's cut mostly short. He has a very military style haircut, like buzzed on the top, like buzzed on the sides, flat on the top. He's got gray in the sides, clean shaven, looks very fit, but also very wiry and tall.
What was the instructor from Full Metal Jacket? Is immediately where I go. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do know who you're talking about. This man is a lot more business-like looking than that person. This guy looks very
so that, but years after in a suit.
Sure. Absolutely. Okay. So Rupert comes on the line. There is a brief moment of silence as you note there is like a almost like a automated call and response between your machines where you hear a few beeps and buzzes. Everything seems to authenticate. And then Rupert will nod at you.
All right, I will nod back. Sir?
Agent, it has come to my attention, based on your most previous report, you're headed to E2705.
That's right, part of the contest.
Yes. Well, there are quite a few things that I need you to do, and I thought it most expedient to impress them upon you in person. You know, ever since you linked up with this new crew, you've been getting things done quite a lot quicker than before. It's been advantageous for us. If I knew it was going to take so long to get results, I would have just had you off your target rather than follow them for so long.
Still an option, sir. But lately, I've been taking risks, yes, to make things quicker.
Well, I think you'll be happy to hear you might not have to take those risks for too much longer. The timetable has sped up. Your homecoming might be imminent.
I'll look like apprehensively, like eyes kind of raised a little, like I'm not sure what he's talking about, but excited sort of look on my face. Does that make sense?
Yeah. He looks at you and goes, there is reason to believe that after a few operations that I've been in communication with some of the other rectors about, we will be in a position to move in. Once we do your primary goal of misleading and misdirecting will no longer be necessary once we've announced ourselves.
I see. What would you have of me?
Many things, Agent. There is an asset we have in place on E2705. You will need to make contact with them. Her name is Tabitha. She is a rector under my command. She's a guide working with the restless masses at E2705, and she has Maximus Seros with her, another paladin. It's important that what they try to achieve there is accomplished. You will need to make your way there, and I will need you to make contact with her and support her as you deem necessary. Keeping these people riled up is going to be important to keep the state looking inward and down rather than outward and up.
I assume her and hers are also looking to partake in this contest?
No, you will need to get past that first. You will need to complete this contest, obtain your contract to head into the area based on the information you have given me. Tabitha is set up on E2705. Once you have arrived there, I will need you to make contact with her and support her as you see fit.
Understood.
Keep in mind, though she is a guide, both of you report directly to me. Do not let her pull rank on you. You are there to support her, not to work for her.
Objective 1 is still in play then.
Yes. Remember, if ever you come across anything that could tip things in our favor, you must reprioritize.
Understood.
So, I have also come to understand that you may be getting some insight to Wren's wider network.
I'm not sure yet. It seems that perhaps my captain is becoming more aware of the inner circle.
Good. Then you have 3 tasks ahead of you. Complete this contest and gain access to E2705. Find out more about whatever group Wren is involved with, and make contact and assist Tabitha with her goals there. It
Understood.
has come to my attention that these... Let me restate this another way. These people who look to gather together to help each other, they will be a hindrance to our plans once we arrive. They cannot be allowed to create a community or throw in together before we start our plans. Once Cygnus is dealt with, if they try to rise up, we can crush them as necessary then. We cannot have them be another thing on the board while we are still dealing with Cygnus.
Understood. Unknown entities are definitely an issue. I agree. And you already know this, but I'll restate it just all the same. Wren is an issue. And if I need to...
Good. Anyway, you have a lot to do, Agent. Get to it.
Rupert?
He nods, and the connection disconnects. Jess looks at you and goes, that we might be done soon?
Home sounds good.
It's been so long.
Let's hope we remember it.
She kind of looks wistfully at the view screen in the room.
Can you gather what data you can on this new handler?
Yeah, I'll find everything I can.
All right. Did you talk to Astro about taking over operation duties?
Yes, yeah, I have everything I need. Don't worry, I can make it look like I'm still learning.
Good. And if you catch anything out of his private channels going forward, I think it's going to be more difficult to get him to speak up than maybe we originally thought.
Good to know. It looks like the rector sent along some information on Tabitha and her paladin, Maximus Saros. He's going by Max Horn as his Signian name. Call sign Notice. Doesn't seem to be very diplomatic, but quite the bruiser.
They usually are.
Tabitha doesn't have much of a record. Looks like she's relatively new, one of the new generation.
It's concerning. Sometimes they're a bit more ambitious than they need to be sometimes. We'll need to keep an eye on it, like Rupert said. He's worried about it too, I think.
All right. Well, I'll make sure I keep everything over here buttoned up.
All right. I nod to her and then head off to start working on my mech some more.
All right. Sounds good. All right. And then Chimera. Anything you need to accomplish before you leave the station?
Oh, yeah, by the way, if you guys could just pretend you didn't hear any of that, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure, traitor.
Heard what? I'm sorry?
Well, funny you should ask, Bob, because I walk in the middle of this conversation and say, hey, what are you guys up to?
Yeah, it's weird we didn't notice her.
It's weird because the last person who did that got shot and ejected into space.
Well, he didn't walk into a conversation. Well, proverbially, I suppose, he did walk into,
Man, it's too bad we never found out what happened to Evelene. Oh, shame that.
Well, I would argue the conversation walked into me, because I was already in the room. But yeah, anyway, I don't have any really grand plans. I think I'm still new.
To be fair, a lot of the last session was dealing with what you were doing on station.
Yeah. I mean, I figured as much. Evelene's mostly nursing her wounds from last mission or last episode. I think this is the second time in a row that Evelene has been in a combat situation where she's gotten a little banged up. So I think she's going to start on a new project. And now she's definitely not going to finish before we leave, but I think she wants to make sure she has all the parts for it.
Start sourcing materials before you guys get underway.
I mean, it's easier to get here in EOS than it is in in space or at wherever the contest is going to be held.
I love how everyone's now very careful about how they pronounce contest.
It's very important.
Dear listener, that is because before we started recording, I made very clear that it is an abbreviation for contract test called contest, because I'm very proud of their dumb corporate speak.
You got to respect the pun.
Yep.
So yeah, Evelene is going to start a project where so on her big mech, she has these grapple hooks that enable her to manipulate the movement of other mechs. Now, she'd like to sort of work on a project where she can sort of make it portable, something she can use herself without being in a mech. Now, obviously, it's not going to have the same functionality. Like, there's no way it's going to be able to like move people, forward, backward, left, and right. It's effectively going to be a grappling gun.
Gotcha.
And she basically wants to get on that.
Batman.
I mean, who doesn't? I mean, other than the whole parents issues thing, I mean, Batman's kind of a cool guy.
Is there a space Batman? Was Astro in that movie?
No, I think the last time... See, here's the thing, is I think the last time they made one was a little bit before Astro's big time in space Hollywood, or whatever they call it now.
Spollywood.
No, I think we decided there's a specific planet that they do all their filming on. So it would just be called whatever that planet is called.
Right.
But what I was going to say is, like, I bet that's one of the dream jobs Astro probably always thought he would have a shot at auditioning for the lead. Like, oh, I'm sure Roxana even told you this. Is like, hey, baby, look, they go in cycles. It's not time for that kind of movie right now. I'm telling you what, you get into these DBC movies, there'll be a long running series, you'll get your face in the, in the lights, and then you'll be a known quantity when they go to remake one of these, do their next reboot of it. Hey, people know who you are. You got facial recognition. So I bet
exactly.
Astro was like, hey, next time this comes around, you could have been the next space masked crusader of whatever it is, whatever it is nowadays.
Yeah.
We should totally
like
come up with that
roles.
at some point,
The next Space Knight.
Yeah. I'm sure it's like mech based now. I'm sure it's like, some like billionaire inventor, who like, what's funny is I realized that if they were going to do a space Batman, he'd be a lot like Dyne, is the thing.
Dyne, are your parents alive?
Yes. I suppose it would be like Dyne, but with money.
Well, in the script, we could write your parents. We can give you a more tragic backstory.
In the script, we can write your parents out. Okay.
Yeah.
But regardless, speaking of which, this is probably a good time to get these rolling. So you're going to have some time before you head to where a contest is going to be taking place. So between being on AO Station and your transit there, I'm giving all of you time to do some downtime action to prepare for the upcoming mission. So this will be a combination of, sourcing parts ahead of time and doing things on the trip there. So before I get that started, is there anything else you guys want to do narratively on AOS before we get moving?
Can I go first?
Go right ahead.
Oh, go for it.
Okay.
Go for it.
I would be interested in finding out as much information I can about where we're going, the political landscape there, and how my new contacts there are integrating into it.
Okay. So
so helping Jessica find more information, essentially.
Okay. What I would say is that is definitely something that you can do as your downtime action then.
Okay.
Yeah, that is something that the thing is, this project is shrouded in enough secrecy that a simple search won't give it to you, or I will just tell you that information now.
I figured, yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to do a little bit of research, which necessitates like spending a resource on it, which could be your downtime action if you want it to be.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah. All right, so we know what two of you are going to be doing for your downtime actions, possibly. Dyne or Astro, anything else you want to do narratively on AOS before we move into that stage of gameplay?
Narratively, this isn't important, but Dyne's going, or Dyne, Jesus, Astro, maybe Dyne will accompany me. Astro's going to get a whole new wardrobe for his new alter ego,
Astro,
Xander Nova.
That's very important. How dare you?
Yeah, it is important. And he's also kind of like thinking about like his character, as it were. Like, what's his backstory? What drives him? So he's workshopping a few ideas. One idea is that he was what do you call it? Is Black Hat when you hack for companies?
That's White Hat.
That's White Hat.
That's White Hat. Yeah,
Black Hat's the bad one.
Yeah, he was a white.
Go figure.
One of the backgrounds he's thinking is he's a white hat hacker who got stuck too long in the network, in the subjectivity enhancement suite. And it messed with his head, So he's quiet and withdrawn and moody and angsty.
Oh my.
So he saw shit in there, that he can't talk about, that haunts him every day. So that's where he's leaning. with
That's the
his,
vibe
little
you're
character.
going for.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
vibe.
Do you wear a
kind
white
of a
hat?
Batman-esque character, one could say.
Todd, do you wear a white hat? Like a fedora?
Well, he's not a white hacker anymore. Ever
Oh.
since that day, everything's changed, and his ideas of ethics and morality have all been flipped upside down.
Now it's just whoever's the highest bidder.
That's right. But, yeah.
Here's an important thing. Are you still the operator of whatever you're calling your group, though? Are you still, quote unquote, in command? When you talk to other people, are you representing this group?
That's a fair question.
You should probably talk this over.
Yeah. In fact, let's talk it over with everyone.
I was actually just about to ask that. So
Yeah, let's call a little conference here. And I'll pose this very question. I'll say, going forward, maybe, while I'll still be, the captain of the DBC, perhaps we want to put someone else forward as, our the person that would represent the group we're posing to be.
Evelene
The
will,
leader.
Evelene will raise her hand.
Yes, Evelene, I like the initiative.
Not it.
Oh, not it. Okay. He looks disappointed. Anyone else? I mean, I could still do it, but even if I grow out my beard, stop wearing sunglasses, there's always a chance someone might recognize me or put two and two together. It might be a good idea to switch things up.
I mean, how fast can you grow out your beard in, looks at time, a couple of days?
I mean, maybe taking off sunglasses would be a good cover. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen you not wear sunglasses.
That's what I'm saying. Even with the beard and no sunglasses, I have a very distinct facial structure. I still wouldn't be surprised if I was still recognized.
All right, Steve, I guess it's between you and me. Do you care that much?
I actually vote that Astro stays in charge. I think it could get too confusing and mixed emotions. When should I listen to Dyne versus when should I listen to... Sorry, what was your name again?
Xander Nova.
Astro. I just don't know, where's the line drawn. It's just less confusing to have Astro take charge, I think.
It would only be in public-facing situations. When we're talking to other parties, we would have someone else represent our interests. In all other matters, you would still take orders from me as normal.
Okay,
but, I like to think
they'll need to make choices, same choices that you would make ideally during that.
Our choices. I just mean when we are, for example, during the contest, if we need to, talk to other parties or whatever, we put on a display as if someone else was the captain. But choices will be made, as they always are. I don't make the choices. I suggest choices, and we and make sure everyone feels good about it. And in battle, sometimes I'll make a quick call.
Well, I'm a very careful person, so if I do end up doing it, I'd like to know as much as I can about where we're going and who we're dealing with so that I can make those right choices.
Understood. And if you all think it's best, I would be happy to play the play the role of the leader, as well as actually be the leader.
Actually, that brings up a good point, Astro. If you're going to be the leader, what are you the leader of? We can't exactly go as the DBC Crew anymore, right?
Yes, I suppose maybe we should. Our ship should have another name.
I mean, we just renovated. It's probably the best time.
MOC, Murder of Crows.
I'm into it.
It does have a fearsome ring to it.
I mean, we did add 2 new cannons.
Murder of Crows? No objections?
No, actually, that's pretty good.
Best thing I could come up with. I'd probably say like Team Tuna or something.
No.
I said it was a joke, Dyne.
I don't
You
think
said
she
it
did.
while holding up a tuna sandwich.
Look, I don't judge I don't judge your eating habits.
Now, every battle will be a mock battle in the contest.
What's funny is the Murder of Crows isn't even the craziest PMC name of the PMCs and mercs who are going to the contest.
How long were you cooking that one, Jay?
Literally the moment it came out of my mouth.
Oh, well, it's good. It's good.
Didn't expect you guys to take to it at all.
I like it.
Are you guys going to be changing your call signs as well for outward-facing purposes? Like, obviously, we'd still call you, like, Astro and Dyne and stuff, like, in combat to make things normal. But, like, when you guys register, are you registering as, you know, Orion and Comet and stuff? Or are you guys going to give yourselves, like, a disguise on top of that?
We should probably come up with, like, fake outward-facing...
Because you could make it real simple and just do, like, Crow 1, Crow 2, or something like that.
I'm fine with
That's
that,
exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah.
I'd prefer
like,
Big Bird, Little
for a
Bird,
leader.
Red Bird, and Blue Bird. But
Okay, I'm Redbird, okay?
I'll take Bluebird.
I gotta be Little Bird.
Guess I'm Big Bird then.
All right, Big
All right,
Bird,
it's
what we
settled.
doing now?
You think Curry could get out there and do a little paint job and stencil in Murder of Crows on the ship?
I really want Bob to replace your token specifically, Todd, with just a picture of Big Bird.
Big Bird.
Now, like without telling anyone, that's just the marker now.
This mission's gonna be over, and I'm like, okay, so we can go back to our normal call signs, right?
What was that, Big Bird?
Right? Right?
Oh, you cute yellow bird.
I want this.
All right, excellent. So let's roll into our downtime actions then. As the MOC crew head towards their rendezvous point with Ethic, let's go through and figure out what you guys are spending your productive time getting done here. Let's start with Evelene, because that was the first person to express interest in the thing they wanted to do.
Real quick, before we did, maybe this is just me, but where did we land on who was like taking point on talking and leading?
Oh, I think we just landed on me
You doing it?
continuing
Okay,
to do
okay.
that.
Yeah, just
unless
making sure.
anyone, there are many volunteers, but yeah, it just seemed like we were going back to status quo for simplicity's sake.
Like, after that meeting, Dyne will be like, I'm glad we decided this. I've got an old contact that may be able to help us with our resume. At least I'll have some information to give him. And then I'll, like, leave.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to clear that up because I felt like we didn't fully explore.
Yep.
Just making sure.
Yep.
Yep.
I think that's what we're doing then.
All right, excelente. Evelene, you're up first, working on your personal project here.
Indeed. I would like to get creative because I feel like that's what you do when you build something.
That is the thing you do when you're trying to build something creative, yes.
Indeed. So I'm thinking I could I forget. Can you do a skill trigger on this, or is it just a flat d20?
You get to do a skill trigger on this.
Okay. I'd like to potentially use, I was going to say creative engineering, because this is not something that normally exists, and I'm using what materials are available to create it. But yeah. I could also see the argument otherwise. Oh, it's fine? Okay.
No, creative engineering makes sense. I would like to point out that this alone won't get you a reusable one of these yet. This is going to be making the prototype. Because if you read how Get Creative works, is like when you tweak something and make something new, you get a physical item or a piece of software. Once finished, you can use your new creation as reserves. So mechanically, you'll be completing this to give yourself some reserves that you can use in the next mission, which can be very good. To make that a more permanent thing, you'll have to, after you create this prototype, do another downtime mission to make it something you can use again in the future. But this is a good first step for you.
That works.
I mean, let's be fair. Batman always had multiple grappling hooks anyways.
It's true. Would this have like limited number of uses, or
No, it would be limited to this mission though.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that works.
And because it's a prototype, I reserve the right to basically, on a failed roll, make it malfunction.
Of course, yeah. I can't imagine it being perfect.
Like one of the failures could be it's broken now. You'll have to spend time fixing it if you want to use it again, kind of thing. Okay. Just know that it's not like a perfectly working piece of pilot gear yet, but it's on its way if you complete this successfully.
Sure. Okay, let me make the roll. Creative engineering. No modifiers. Oh, 24.
A 24. On a 20 plus, you finish your project before the next mission. It's not, I won't say it's especially complex, so you don't need to decrease the success. So basically, Evelene, you have created exactly what you want. This is a good roll and you succeed on it. This is the best you can make in terms of the prototype. I would say you could probably be pretty proud of this. It works basically exactly the way you want it to.
Okay.
So what you're saying is accuracy on his next downtime roll to create it better?
No, it just won't break as easily.
It's worth a shot. I tried for you, man.
I appreciate the hustle. Okay, cool. I'll add it to my inventory somehow. I gotta figure out how to add custom items, but
you can add it as a piece of reserves for now. Under your reserves list, it would be a you could put it under like supplies, gear allowing for crossing of hazardous or hostile area. You can use that as a stand-in for it, basically.
Okay, yeah, I'll do that then. I'll figure that out in a bit. Anyway, that's me.
All right, excellent. Who wants to do their pilot downtime next?
That's a weird silence, so I'll do it.
All right. What do you want to do?
I'm still thinking of mine, so I was waiting for you to...
No, you're good. You're good.
Go.
I wasn't thinking pilot check earlier. I was just coming up with what my character would do without thinking of downtime.
Yeah, you don't have to be committed to that. Yeah, you can do something else if you want.
No, I do want to do that. I think, how does word on the street sound for you? You think I could get anything off of that, or?
Yes. It would be probably a gather information role in terms of like the downtime options. But you could use word on the street to do the gather information check.
Do you feel like investigate makes more sense? I don't, but
I mean, one of those two things makes sense, because either you're investigating, this is me talking without even looking at which of the two you're better at, but what I would say is what investigate would give you is like information that you could find by searching like news reports or data banks or like
Making connections
official
between that, yeah.
Official information on what's there. Word on the street would be more like, what do people have to say about what's going on there? Does anyone know someone who's been there? Has anyone like talked to a cousin who like is one of the work crews that's there and knows kind of what's happening there? You know what I mean? That would be the difference.
Okay. I'll focus on word of the street for this. And like go to different bars and kind of like talk up people, buy a few drinks, that sort of thing.
And this is like a heavy populated station. Like, you imagine there are some people here who have probably been out that way delivering supplies. This is a fairly big project. So
Sure. Because Jessica would handle more of the investigation side. All right, no accuracy, right?
No accuracy.
It's an 18.
All right. So on a 10 through 19, you can find what you're looking for, but choose one of these two. Either you leave clear evidence of what you're rummaging, and both of these, even if it sounds innocent, both of these will have a downside. Or you have to dispatch someone or implicate someone innocent to avoid it. To avoid attention. So either you have to dispatch or implicate
it's the
someone.
Second option.
Yeah, okay. So the problem is you don't leave evidence of you, but you are going to have to there's a lot of asking around happening about like what's going on over there, what's happening there.
I'm going to give you way too much here and say, can I push it on Nolarian?
Oh, sure.
I figured you'd have that reaction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Like
you owe me something. I'm telling you right now.
People get like some things are passed along, like, hey, like Nolarian's been asking about some information that'll have implications.
I figured, but
okay.
Yeah, like I said, you owe me.
Rubbing hands together. But what you get on the other side of this is a wealth of data about what's happening on E2705 that you can get without investigating it yourself. So you're going to know a few things going in. 1, there are 5 people on the kind of council of overseers, so to speak, on kind of like who are in charge of Project Rebirth, which is what people are calling this project. You will know that the people you're looking at specifically, which are Tabitha and Max Horn, there has been some trouble that you found. And this is what you find because it's a word on the street. The way people talk about it is very different. In fact, for what you were looking for, this is probably more efficient way of getting this information. Because people who live there getting displaced, people who are like down on their luck and are getting like shafted by the companies isn't exactly stuff that's going to be on like the big reports, but is definitely being talked about.
They're also my people, right? Like,
yes.
Yeah.
The thing is, they're working with the basically the downtrodden on E25. It is E25, E2705.
I think it was E2506.
I just turned the page. E2705. Yeah.
Okay.
So on E2705, you start finding out a little bit more about like the history of the place and like the cultural setup there. E2705 was fucked over a long time ago by the initial expansions of Cygnus space. It got industrialized to hell. The surface of the planet is almost non-livable now. And there's this giant superstructure around the entire planet because the planet was one of the main manufactory planets of early Cygnus exploration and expansion. So there's almost like a giant metal shell, incomplete. It's not like an eggshell, but like imagine so many connected space stations around the outer side of the planet that there's like, large portions of the planet that are just covered by in orbit around the planet, huge platforms, literally the size of like small nations, like of just like ship bays, manufacturing plants, refining plants, things like that.
What, atmospheric elevators to get things from planet to there kind of thing? Or
no, because no one lives on the planet anymore, is how bad they fucked up the surface of the planet. The planet itself is almost now just the gravity well around which real, quote unquote, E2705 now orbits. If you talk to someone who says they're from E2705, what they mean is they're from the space stations that orbit E2705. Because basically they just kept building around the planet.
But the resources of the planet aren't the reason it's there. Is it positionally strategically important?
It was positionally very strategically important to the initial expansion of Cygnus Space. It was one of the first systems they were able to get to expand out into the rest of the arm that Cygnus currently occupies. So it was basically a really strategic jumping off point to a bunch of other places.
Does that mean it's pretty closely connected to the cores?
It is, yes. Okay. It's very closely connected to the core.
Okay. I have a good picture now, I think.
So they abandoned this planet a long time ago because it became non-profitable. The superstructures around the planet started getting more and more expensive to maintain. They were getting less and less profit out of maintaining it and running it. A lot of it's fallen into disrepair, and the people who live there are, descendants of basically people who got shafted when the planet was abandoned in the first place. The people who had the money got out of there, went to do other things, went to explore the galaxy as Cygnus was expanding. But there are a lot of people who are like, basically E2705 natives, right? They like have lived there their whole lives. Their families have been from there for generations. And it's a bad place to be. There's not a lot of work, and there hasn't been for a long time. Now, all of a sudden, all these big corporations are all of a sudden interested in it again. But that doesn't help the people who live there. They're just bringing people from off planet to work for them there. In fact, they're renovating and rebuilding lots of segments of this superstructure around the planet for their own purposes, displacing a lot of the people who used to live there.
More militaristic guns, supply caches, places to hold things, I'm guessing.
That you're not sure of. But there's something happening there. You know that the corps are like taking over areas and basically turning them into what they need. And it's all under the banner of Operation Rebirth, right? It's like, oh, we need these to do atmospheric cleansing. We need these spaces to, disseminate things into the atmosphere to help the planet and things like that, right? Like all of the things these companies are doing are under the auspices of Operation Rebirth, and you found it hard to authenticate that.
Okay.
But in the meantime, the people who live there are getting displaced. They're losing their homes. They're losing the places they used to live because they didn't really own them. When the companies left, they abandoned their shit and people moved in and started using it and living there. Now that they're back, they're just taking those places back and they're not asking for permission. So, some kind-hearted people have shown up there to help those people. That Tabitha has started basically outreach program for the people who live on E2705, where she provides them with places to sleep, places to eat, soup kitchens, bunkhouses, things like that, and has been teaching them trades, teaching them how they can get the skills they need to be productive, and all the while has started to become a very popular person amongst the people who lived there to begin with. But those people are not fans of Operation Rebirth. And there's, from what you can tell, a lot of unrest happening right now.
Okay. Very important. What's the soup kitchen called?
Soup.
My man. I would like to share this information, focusing when I share it to the others, focusing on the unrest and the people that are displaced, and how I basically just want to plant the seed in everyone's mind that like that's an issue here.
Yeah,
like that's something we should be looking at, and this Tabitha person might be someone who can help us, kind of thing.
You give them the layout of what's happening there without tipping off the fact that this is like a mandate guide, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
all right, absolutely.
Astro would be very receptive to that. He's like, well, that perfect. That's why we're here. If this Tabitha can help us, then
good. We have room in the mandate for you if you want.
Astro joins the mandate, not knowing he's joined the mandate.
Why do I gotta be the bad guy?
Listen, a lot of people
jump
do
into
that.
Conclusions is all I'm saying. All right, you don't know what's going on.
You don't know me.
You're right. We don't know.
Dun dun. All right. Yeah. No. You get. Is that sufficient for the information you were looking for there?
I'd say so. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Excellent. Who wants to go next?
I'll go.
All right, Dyne.
I had it up. I'm gonna do get connected. I'd like to reach out to an old contact who may be able to hopefully provide us with a resume that could give us a better chance at landing the contract.
Less fresh fish, so to speak, in terms of mercenary groups, trying to get something that has a little bit more on the resume than a blank sheet of paper.
Pretty much, because, we can't really use anything that we currently have.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so I'm going to reach out to Sam Carini.
All right.
An old friend, quote, in air quotes there.
Yeah, so operating on the edge of space, there are a lot of people like Sam. Finding the people who can do the jobs and getting them to where they need to be is important. It's a very important skill to have. So people who can source resources, he can deal with that. People who can source, quote unquote, employment packages, even more important. I imagine you've probably used him both ways before, probably to get yourself somewhere, and probably also to get assistance on a job that you needed a specific set of skills for before as well.
Well, he was the one who helped me get out there to begin with, and he's also the one who helped me get out of there.
That makes sense.
So that's why I know him very well.
Yeah. The person who's on the far field and the person who gets you back. Are you going to contact Sam directly, or are you sending a request to Sam?
I am going to contact him directly. I know that's cost resources, but
for
now, I think it's worth it.
Yeah. Sam will answer. You basically send him a time, and he makes himself available at that time.
Yeah.
Sam appears. He's tall, wiry, balding with a well-kept graying beard. Looks at you, Dyne, on the other side of the screen and goes, "Well, repeat customer. Hope you aren't expecting a discount."
Oh, I know better than to ask you for a discount. that's more likely to cost me more than it's worth.
Well, new customers don't know that. It's kind of like a discount.
Well, I know better than to preach what's going to keep me safe.
All right, well, I'm in the market for new jobs. You got anything interesting for me?
Well,
Got some people who can get some things done?
Well, I'm trying to land a contract, and let's just say my current resume is not going to do so well, particularly because if the contractor saw our resume, they wouldn't just blow us off so much as probably call Corsac. So, I'd like to purchase, an employment package, a resume, crafted to help us land this job. I'm sure you've heard of the contest.
Oh, is that where you're going? Well,
that's where I'm going.
As luck would have it, I am familiar. Before I continue with the conversation, Dyne, I'm going to ask you to make your roll, because that will change where this conversation goes.
Yeah. All right. I don't really have any skill triggers for conversation, but do I get accuracy due to, Farfield team and my previous dealings with him? Or do I just roll a straight d20?
I'm going to say having access to this guy. The thing is, it's going to be a modifier on effect, not on outcome of your roll, because he's going to be able to give you something extra if you get a success here.
Okay. Then I'm just going to roll a straight d20. 4.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh, painful. Okay.
Ouch.
We're going back to last session.
Push it.
You want to make it dangerous?
No. Dyne knows better than to screw with Sam.
All right. Dyne, on a 9 or less, Sam will help you, but you got to do a favor or make good on a promise right now. If you don't, they won't help you. So the way this conversation goes after this, because he's going to give you the terms right up front. It's like, actually, the reason I'm familiar with that particular application process is because I've got another dog in the race already. Some customers already bought some of my services, and from what I understand, contracts are in short supply. I am afraid that if I give you the same package I gave them, well, I'm just competing with myself.
All right.
I'll tell you what.
How can I grease your wheels?
Here's what you can do for me. I'll tell you one of the other groups that's vying for one of these contracts. And all I need for you is you need to make sure that they also get one of the 3 contracts.
That won't be a problem.
I like working with you, Dyne. You're optimistic.
Well, send me their information, and I'll give you, the name that my crew has come up with, as well as their, Dyne rolls his eyes, chosen names. And I'll let you do what you do, and I'll figure out how to deal with ensuring your other party gets the contract.
He's going to send you some information about one of the other groups that's taking place in contest. And he'll say, all right, you send your info along to me, and I'll make sure I get it nice and pretty for you, so you'll get off on the right foot with your prospective new employers. Don't fuck me on this.
Appreciate working with you, Sam. You know me. I'll get the job done.
Good. All right. And Dyne, you get information about a PMC group called Dorf Elbost. You get very little info on them, except for what you are very sure is just one of Sam's employment packages. Their resume is just as fake as yours is. But you can tell that the symbol for their organization is a pumpkin made of ASCII art.
Okay.
So ASCII.
Yeah, ASCII art. It's an ASCII art pumpkin is their symbol. And that is the group you have agreed to help get one of the 3 contracts.
I go, it is what it is.
So you got that in return for like a fake resume, basically, for a little outfit.
Yeah, pretty much. Basically, we also have to make sure that they get the contract as well.
Right.
In return for having a fully fleshed out resume that will look good.
Yeah, you guys aren't going to look like you showed up as a newly formed mercenary crew now, right? Like, you're going to be able to pad your info a little bit. Basically, I'll tell you this up front, is going to make you slightly more likely from the beginning of the mission that you may be one of the 3 selected. Because strength of resume is going to be factored into who they select.
Well, first impressions
you were going
always...
to start at a disadvantage because you guys don't have the DBC's name to trade on. Dyne negated that disadvantage, but gave you guys a new problem to deal with. So, trade off there. I think that just leaves Astro.
There is one last thing though before.
Yeah, Dyne.
At the end of the day, I send Sol Prisma all the information I promised. Just following up on that.
Okay. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Okay, that's it. All yours.
All right. So for the contest, there is like a council of people from Project Rebirth that will be deciding who to award contracts to at the end of it.
That is correct. There is a council. There is a group of 5 that will each have a say on selecting the final 3.
So, what Astro would like to do is gather information and kind of research the council and see if there's any dirt he can dig up on any particular member by kind of trolling through their online profiles, maybe trying to hack into one of their like social media accounts or something. See if there's any dirt he could probably dig up to get them, extort them and get them in their corner, or at the very least, just gather some information about what kind of people we might be dealing with, and how we have to approach them.
Yeah. What downtime action are you rolling with this?
I will do gather information.
Absolutely.
All right. And I will roll with investigate. Here we go. Oops. Oh, 20.
Hey, 20. On a 20 plus,
nice.
You get what you're looking for with no complications, which is great, Astro. So let me find it here for you. You're going to get a resource of something here. I think you're going to get blackmail, the reserve. Blackmail materials or sensitive information concerning a particular person. And you find out who one of the 5 people, who's not Effic, because you already know Effic's going to be on the council, and really getting blackmail on her isn't going to help you in any way.
No,
but
that would be counterproductive.
What you do get is a wealth of blackmail information on a particular person named Grime RK. That is GRYME. And then the last name, RK, the letters. He is the local governor on behalf of the Cygnus state in this region. technically, he is in charge of every planet in this system, according to the Cygnus state. In reality, he is one of 5 votes, most of which are from companies in a group of 5. Right? So, like, he nominally has government power, but he's still just one of 5 members. And, like, corporate representatives have just as much power as he does, right?
Right.
But ultimately, at the end of the day, he is still one of the 5 votes. And you have blackmail info on him. He's not a great guy, Astro. I'll let you decide what your blackmail information is. You can be creative.
Okay.
He is not a good guy. He's a government appointee. He has never once, like, this is stuff you just find out about this guy from doing research on him. He kind of just has this governorship as like a get out of the core kind of package, right? He is like a guy who was well connected in the core, but he was distasteful and shitty enough. He was granted a quote unquote governorship that would get him out of everyone's hair and force him to leave, right? It's like granting a shitty noble a title in a faraway land so you don't have to look at them anymore, right?
Yeah.
That's basically what happened to this guy. But now everyone's interested in one of the planets under his technical domain, and all of a sudden he gets to be a shitty little boy exerting his power again.
Right. Okay, interesting. Give me a little bit to think about.
You don't
something
have to decide this now. Take your time. There's a wealth of things you can come up with, but you're getting the reserve blackmail to use on this next mission.
Perfect. That's what I was hoping for, actually, when I did this downtime.
Well, didn't that work out then?
I'm very pleased.
His blackmail is that he has all of the Astro Jamin memorabilia. Secretly an Astro Jamin fan.
He's a super fan.
No, actually, he has a restraining order because he was stalking Astro.
You show up, but you can't reveal your identity to him, but you realize that you have a past with him.
And somehow you didn't realize it was him while you were hacking his social media accounts.
So, you are en route as you all are completing these various downtime actions aboard the DBC. Newly kitted out, has like the new upgrades that you installed into it. And you are going to arrive at a place called Riol Station. That's RIOL. It is, from what you can understand, a station under the auspices of Ethic. She is, much like Wren, an operator of a station, but has many other jobs besides. This is where your rendezvous is with her. And I think what we're going to do is stop this session here, and we're going to pick up with getting on to Riol Station in our next episode.
Exciting!
Oh boy.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, thanks for joining us, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.